Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, college football fans, pro football fans, whatever kind of football fan, UFL football fans. What do you think, Clay?
Oh, aviators.
Across the nation and around the world, this is Tim May with the Tim May Show featuring, you're not really the co-pilot. You're like a pilot who's got his license, but is over in the left seat because you sometimes don't show up for work. Is that the best way of putting it, Clay?
We're featuring Jay Richardson today.
Yeah, we got
That's
Jay
what we're
Richardson
doing.
coming
What's
live.
going on?
Coming live from his digs down in Austin still, right? Do I have that right?
Sunny Austin, Texas, 78 degrees, boys.
Woo.
That's no brag, just fact, as
right.
John Wayne and many others would have put it. Jay, welcome back once again to our show, my friend.
Good to be here, guys. I love this thing. I love this thing you two got going on.
Yeah, I love the way you express yourself. That's the main reason I have you on. Plus your good looks and charm and personality. But
Stop.
But the bottom line is we wanted to have you on because you're a guy that's been to the combine.
Yeah.
You've been through the test. You've been through the angst of from combine to draft. Did anybody fall in love with me? How do I still get someone to fall in love with me?
Yeah.
You know, everything that comes after the combine, which probably is the hardest part for a lot of guys who aren't just nailed down going to be one of the top 10 picks.
Yeah.
But because we got a bunch of Buckeyes going through it right now, as you well know. But before we go to Jump Street, I do want to ask you this. Stunned by the numbers Sonny Styles put up, how eye-opening are they? Does it make all of these experts in these NFL war rooms, they're not even in the war room yet, they're preparing for war.
Yeah.
Does it make them go, wait a minute, maybe, I don't know, man, we don't need a linebacker, but maybe we do.
Maybe.
Or is this just more than anything else an Olympic track meet where everybody will calm down and forget about the gold medal in a couple of weeks?
So one, Sonny Styles, man. I don't know if he's part superhero, Avenger, X-Man. He looked like an absolute freak of nature at the combine. First question was, did that surprise me? Not so much. If you've cut on any film of the Ohio State Buckeyes defense, he pops off the tape. He fills holes full speed. He runs down running backs. He can cover tight ends. He's a converted safety, so he's got the natural track speed already. And then you muscled up that frame at 6'5" because he just kept growing. He kind of outgrew the position. Yep. And when with Caleb coming in, they thought, how cool of an opportunity to take a guy who is already growing into this position, but he's got the speed. And I think he showed that at the combine. The broad jump and the vertical, 43 inches, dude, that's not normal.
No, that's abnormal.
No, that's NBA, and that's upper level NBA player kind of for vertical. So that's special. Here's what I'll say about his draft positioning. He's a guy, Arvell Reese, widely looked at as the best linebacker prospect in this draft, maybe in a long time. Guys, saying generational just because of his athleticism, his 4.46 backed that up. And then you cut on the tape, and he's extremely violent. He's got the biggest pop at the point of contact. But what Sonny did, who most people were saying middle of the first round, when you go and have a combine like that, as you just alluded to, Tim, it makes a GM go, yeah, maybe we didn't necessarily need that specific position, but when you're drafting, like if you have a philosophy of best next player available, guys, right after Arvell and Caleb and you'll see obviously Mendoza and like maybe two other guys, he'll be the next player available from like pick 6 on. So I think he finds his way in the top 10 purely based on that performance. And then the film backs up what you're seeing at the combine, which is key.
Yeah, to quote the late, great Jackie Gleason, hummina, 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 hummina. What are we seeing here?
Oh, they're drooling.
Go ahead, Clay. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. How much you think has the combine changed? Obviously now televised, but is its importance now even more elevated?
Yeah, Clay, that's a fantastic question because, with modern football technology and modern scouting and all the film and data they can compile just with the tech, you'd almost say the combine isn't as important necessarily because people kind of know what they need to know going into it. And then when you look back in the day, in the 90s, early 2000s, when I played, the combine could make or break your entire NFL career. I mean, if you could be an unknown guy, go in there and show things that they've never seen before athletically, and right away you're thrust into the first 32 picks. But I will say, Clay, with social media, with the hype machines, with everyone filming everything, I mean, you know, you see Arvell Reese run his 40, you see Sonny go right behind him and run a 4.562. It's on Instagram within, I don't know, 15 minutes. We've got the live feed and we can see it. That adds a layer of pressure in the preparation because guys know eyes are on them, and it intensifies things a lot for the players. How freaky?
What was the freakier number for Sonny? Was it the adjusted the 4.46 40? I think in the final analysis, he and Arvell both got credit for running 4.46 40.
Yeah.
Which is stupid fast for guys that big, in my opinion, humble opinion. But also with tape to back up the fact they're not just workout freaks. They made plays.
Yes.
Obviously the 43.5-inch vertical and with force. I don't mean he barely tipped it. You know, he slung it. Or was it his what's the other thing I'm thinking of is
his broad jump?
His broad jump, 11 feet. I think 11 feet 2 or 3 inches.
Yeah.
Wait, let me read you the numbers of a guy that I know went through the combine a few years ago. Let me just read you the numbers that I pulled down off of his chart. Arm length 34 1/8 inches. Hand span 9 7/8 inches. This guy ran a 4.940. He was 6'5" and 5/8, almost 6'6". Weighed 279 pounds. 279 pounds going 4.90. That's moving. I think you agree with me, don't you? And he also ran a 4.54 20-yard shuttle. He had a 3-cone drill of 7.26 seconds, a vertical jump of 33 inches, only like 10 or only a foot shorter, right? No, 10.5 inches shorter than Sonny's. Sonny could dunk on him, and a broad jump of 9 feet 4 inches, which was almost 2 feet shorter than what Sonny did. And he did 20.
By the way, if you go anywhere near 10 feet and you're over 250 pounds, that's considered pretty impressive.
There you go.
Just blows it out of the water.
He also did 20 reps on the bench press. His name was Jay Richardson way back when.
We saw that.
Now, at Pro Day, I got that number up to 28.
There you go.
I was about to ask the difference in the two, but go ahead, Tim.
No, but that's what's funny, by the way, Jay.
Is what goes on you perform much better.
What goes on your permanent record, though, I found covering this for like 44 years, longer than that, because I covered the Browns and the Bengals way back when. That combine number, you know what I mean? It hardly ever goes away unless you run like a 4.240 at your pro day, right? It's funny how and I'm just going, well, the pro day numbers are as accurate as the combine numbers anymore. I think you agree with that, right? And because everybody's got electronic timing.
Sure.
Mickey Marotti runs a hell of a show when he puts on the pro day at Ohio State. But my point is, of Sonny, was it the long jump or was it the high jump that just really got you? Like, man, this guy is totally different.
Well, the his vertical leap is what's gonna wow people, and that's what is gonna just kind of blow your mind, because that is explosive for a 244-pound guy. That is extremely explosive. But for NFL translation, the broad jump at 11.3, that's telling the team, oh, he's gonna explode through contact. This guy's got twitchy explosiveness in his hips, because that's how you broad jump. And so when you look at that and you look at Sonny able to clear that kind of distance on a broad jump, that shows explosiveness that you want to see out of a linebacker, especially in the modern NFL where linebackers have to be able to run. Otherwise, you're going to come off the field on third down. And when you're a team that has a guy that, I don't need to have a nickel package or a base package, I just need Sonny out there.
Leave him out there.
All. Well, now you're talking about making yourself some serious money.
Yeah, I talked about that on the radio this morning. That's what really jumps out at you is Sonny, of the guys in this draft, and I don't include Arvell in this because Arvell might end up being a niche guy. I mean, until he really shows a little bit just more pure prowess playing linebacker, I think. But I may be wrong. But Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles could possibly play 80% of your plays for you. I mean, based on their abilities. I don't know if you agree or not, but I mean, Caleb should never leave the field probably unless he's hurt tired or something.
Correct.
But so that'll be the conundrum, right? Is do you want that safety guy that lines people up and is going to make plays on top of everything else, or do you want this guy that can go to the middle of the field to the sideline in a couple of heartbeats, which is funny. Go ahead.
So when you have Caleb, and I think the biggest glaring thing you're seeing from these teams coming off of the first few days is Caleb Downs is a locker room changing kind of player.
Right.
And so there's these intangibles that he brings that no one else in the draft brings. Anyone who's interviewed with Caleb will say, oh yeah, never mind. I didn't realize he was so professional. I didn't realize he's like a 10-year vet already.
Yeah.
And so that stabilizes not just the DB room, that'll stabilize your whole defense. If you have a guy like that, there's just not many of them,
right.
Ray Lewis, guys that come in and right away change the culture of your defense and stabilize a whole position group and maybe even the whole side of the football. That is super important. That's why Caleb's going to go before I think any of them.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a team that's going, we're one piece away, and it's going to be a defensive piece from kind of stabilizing this side of the ball while we score points on the other side. Caleb does that for you. Now, Arvell is interesting. Arvell's going to give GMs kind of nightmares because he's a unique athlete. And as you said, is he going to be niche? Is he going to be a true linebacker, or will he get drafted to a team that has a pass rush specialist guru,
right?
Like a Keith Millard, or they got one in Tennessee, they got one down south in Tampa. Like you get a guy that just understands pass rush at a high level that can groom an edge player, because Arvell could 3 years from now lead the league in sacks.
Yeah,
he has that kind of talent, but if not properly utilized and he gets into the wrong system and they try to stand him up for the rest of his the whole season, and maybe that's not natural all the time for him, then you got to figure out what you're going to do there. So for him, it's about where he goes in their system. But he could give a GM nightmares because they could go, damn, I should have taken him, and he ends up being a 3-time, 4-time Pro Bowl edge guy. So you just never know.
Yeah, but while you were talking there earlier, I was scratching my head. That's what they're going to be doing. They're going to be going, wait a minute now.
Because he's too good of an athlete to not draft.
Yeah.
Like, you got to go get him.
But to me, I look at it as the Vrabel. I always call it, since Vrabel, I call it the Vrabel conundrum, because the Steelers took Vrabel and didn't know what to do with him, and they got a great player, Mike Vrabel, way back in '97 or wherever it was, whatever the draft was, '97. But they didn't know what to do with him, and he ends up with a guy who was not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but should have been, Bill Belichick. Sure. I guess you comment on that in a minute, but he knew what to do with him. I'm going to do a bunch of crap with this guy. You know what I mean? And stand him up, put him down. Athletes. Go ahead.
What Belichick knew was, I got a tall, rangy athlete who's got a high IQ.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Big time motor.
On the edge. I can stand him up and have him take fire coverage in the flats. And every now and again, I can toss him at tight end and fake a block and go fall in the end zone for a touchdown. Because I got a guy that's just a really good athlete who's also got great size. So Arvell is not as big as Vrabel was at his biggest, but Arvell is extremely athletic, freaking nature athletic. So you find ways to utilize those guys. I think the right defensive coordinator is going to have him standing up on first, second down, covering the flats, taking tight ends man sometimes, busting up run plays, and then on third down, he's going to have his hand in the ground and he's going to be coming, if I'm a smart defensive coordinator.
Jay, who else in this Buckeye class kind of captivates you or intrigues you where he might go?
It's not even a question. It's Kayden McDonald. You'll see a theme on defense. So Kayden was not a huge sack number guy, but he doesn't need to be. Right. He's a nose technique heavy three. He's somebody that instantly, when I talk about stabilizing factors, he stabilizes your run game day one. You drop him off on any team. He is your anchor point at the apex of your defense, and you don't worry about it because you got him in there. And for a defensive coordinator, that is a nice thing to know, that I can now scheme every other position, but I know I got the run game tied up in the middle.
He was that impressive.
Oh yeah. So Kayden let our guys get away with so much. People don't realize that when you watch a Buckeye game, he cleaned up a lot of mistakes. I mean, he was taking sometimes both sides of the A gap. I mean, the whole middle was shut down because they couldn't move him, and he was so explosive for a larger guy in a short area box. I mean, he was knocking guys around in the middle, and kind of wreaking havoc that didn't always translate to sacks for him. But then you'd see, Curry on the edge and Kenyatta sometimes fall onto something. And really, Kayden was the one that got the ball rolling in the middle. I mean, the dude he jumps off the tape. No one can block him one-on-one in the run game. You won't see it. No guard's going to scoop him one-on-one. You just won't see it. They have to double him. And so now you have an advantage right away on the chessboard.
That's going to say him.
Yeah. Middle of the first round. And I think he's inching up the boards because teams are starting to wake up to him.
Yeah, I call him one of those A-gap dudes you don't let go. They don't come around that often, Jay. I've always said if I'm starting a defense if I have a first pick, Caleb might be my first pick just because I think he'll help everybody else get, with the game. Plus, he'll go make plays. But if there's a guy like Kayden McDonald sitting there who are still rare, I always like to use this line. They're more rare than big-time quarterbacks because an A-gap dude like him who can actually double A-gap. I mean, that's how good he is.
That's right.
Like Vince Wilfork.
Yeah, there you go. It just creates so many opportunities for your defense. It's nuts. So I think there's going to be some big time thinking there too. Cause you look in the NFL, there still aren't that very many of those guys. Right. And, he looked really good in his workout, the workout stuff. He didn't run the 40, but he did a lot of the other drills and stuff. And I thought he looked quite, light on his feet, so to speak, for a guy that big. And his personality, you've been around him even maybe a little bit. Yeah. He's just a great guy, man. He loves playing the game. He loves being the big dude in the middle of the defense. And he also will wear fluffy shoes to a press conference. You know what I mean?
He's got a lot of personality. But let me tell you something. The kid is okay. So the difference, because you mentioned Caleb, these two guys to me have equal value, but in different spaces. So
bingo.
So Kayden McDonald is your floor raiser, meaning he raises the floor of your defense. You're not going to get any worse than here because he's going to be like the anchor point. Whereas Caleb is your ceiling raiser. He can make everyone better. He'll be a free and strong mixed safety, like a combo safety. So there's only so much a safety can do. They're not like an edge player or like a shutdown corner or even a middle anchor. But what a safety can do is raise the level of everyone's game on the field.
Yeah.
And it's like overnight instant. You can see it right away. That's what Caleb's impact had. You watch Patricia talk about him. He's like, dude, he made everybody better because he knows everybody's job and he's constantly putting you in position.
Yeah. And so you've got the floor raiser and in Kayden, you got the ceiling raiser in Caleb.
Correct.
So Sonny is like wearing women's lingerie, sporting goods. What floor is he on? In the old
Sonny is like what you need.
The old department store
parlance. I mean, that is like he controls the middle. That is a hard job, by the way, in the NFL is to be a 3-down linebacker, right? Like a guy that can stop the run, stop powers, stop pressure, and then back up and cover everywhere in the box, sideline to sideline.
Get to the flat. He can get to the flat like in nothing flat. I can get to the in nothing flat. Hey, well, that mind, dude, I don't mean to jump, but I'm going to come back to the stuff. But how do you replace 3 guys like that in your defense? And then Arvell. I mean, golly, I know about Patricia's back. And as I said, he brought the sprinkles in with him from the NFL last year because he was sprinkling on top of this ridiculous talent pool. And I think as soon as he saw it on video, he went, I'm doing this for a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's back
100%.
for another thing. You got to replace those 4 guys. That's crazy when you think about it.
When they did this year.
Yeah, isn't that right, Clay? I mean, it's funny. Like when this draft is over and how many Buckeyes go, in those first 60 picks, I think people are going to go, how'd they not win a title with these kind of players?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're already
I mean, it doesn't make any sense, right? But what'll happen is there'll be a new crop of players. There'll be new names that you guys haven't been talking about that all of a sudden everyone's going to go, oh, wow, they're really good. And they'll find a way, which I think the most important replacement position is Kayden McDonald. And I'm hoping that Edric Houston, maybe he's meted up a little bit and he's got his head on straight and is ready to be the focal point of the middle of the defense. Because if he is, he's got the talent for it. And then you'll realize that Ohio State is loaded with talent, man. So the guys that are coming back in there next year are going to be some dudes. And I think it's really important that they kept Kenyatta Jackson. I think having one of those super seniors like I was who who is a guy that has seen it all and can add a whole bunch of wisdom to that defensive side of the ball and leadership and presence. I think that'll be important. And he needs to have a year. Like
yes,
Kenyatta Jackson's one of those guys. When you see him, you go, man, he looks like a specimen. Like he should be out there, double digit kind of a sack guy. So I'm looking for him to have the best year, of an edge guy we've had here in a while next season.
How did you convey wisdom? I mean, you as a player.
Yeah.
Did you scream at guys a lot? Did you yell at them a lot? Did you sit in the locker room and go, "Hey, Jimmy Joe from Kokomo, man, you're not getting it done out there, man, on this drill. You're wasting reps. You could be how did you as a senior a senior member, quote unquote senior member, meaning of staff, you know what I mean, of the team.
Yeah.
How did you convey that with a bunch of guys who had to step up from one year maybe to the next?
Yeah, so if you'll remember back in the day, when I was a junior and a senior, we had guys coming in, Doug Worthington, Vern Golston, Lawrence Wilson, these young guys, and you instantly remember that you're now, like the leader, like the guy that they're going to be looking to, the same way I was.
At least the oldest cousin in the group. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the same way I would look at like Will Smith or Darian Scott and be like, hey, what are we doing? And so the tone gets set in individual workouts and off-season workouts. You have to be like the guy who's out front, and you have to lead by example. I was big on like, if you see me doing it, then you can't say anything if I ask you to do it, because I'm going to go out there and you're going to see me play hard. You're going to see me take on double teams. You're going to see me be vicious on one-on-one pass rush in practice and on game day. So if I turn around and you're coming in behind me and you're not with the same intensity, it might not be the same talent or the same effect. But if you're not trying with the same intensity, then I'm going to say something to you like, hey, come on, what are you doing? Like because then, you guys remember Jim Haycock, like if you're a starter and he doesn't feel your backup is up to snuff, he ain't going to put you in the game. And so now I'm exhausted out there, and I'm going, hey, you got to pick it up so that he trusts you to go in the game. So, me and Vern can get a break, or me and Simon can get a break. And I mean, it's one of those things where if you're doing it every day and practicing on the field, guys will start to understand why you're getting on them.
Yeah, by the way, you say you tell them when they gave you a full ride, that wasn't a full ride on my back. Right, Jay?
Ride.
You can use that line if you want, man. That just came to me.
Still have one.
By the way, it is amazing though down there in the trench, because we saw Kayden McDonald mature. Clay and I did over a couple of years. I mean, that's where, I don't mean to get too nitty gritty. That's where the men hang out, man. I mean, in the trench. And some guys aren't men when they first show up at Ohio. You understand what I'm talking about from a mental standpoint? The part of the mental. Go ahead.
You have no idea how much I understand, and you nailed it right there. Going from 18 and being in high school to going into college and playing against, well, these days, sometimes 23, 24-year-old guys.
Isn't that crazy?
Dude, you are going against a grown man, which is why when I see now some of these guys who are on their 6th, 7th year in college, and I'm thinking, dude, you're 24 years old and you're playing in the D-line or in the O-line. You're manhandling some of these kids because it's a different ball game. It's easier to be a corner or receiver and play right away. Yeah. Because it doesn't take the kind of size, strength, and physicality that the trenches do. The trenches, if you're not developed enough for it physically, you're going to get hurt down there. Yeah. And it's just, it's a different world. It's like, it's not 7-on-7. This is bone on bone,
real
stuff.
Football, as I call it.
Yeah. Like you'll get your ass kicked and you'll get yourself hurt if you're down in there playing around and you haven't been taking the workout seriously. That's my favorite part about walking through pre-game, what do they call it, tailgating areas where people are throwing, all these guys are throwing the football around. I go, this is as far into football as Tiddlywinks is, when you because you think they designed the ball wrong finally, it did help the passers, but I mean the real game of football is within the trenches. And that's why when I looked at last year's team, I talked about this on the radio this morning with Bo Bishop. I said, by the time you get to that 13th and 14th game, it's obvious your right guard situation is not good. Ohio State had everything going for it. Yeah. Except right guard. And boy, did those two teams at the right time exploit that, right? I mean, you got to have those men. I mean, pardon the expression. So the biggest difference between Ohio State's championship team and this past season was the interior offensive line and the lack of physicality in the run game. Say
Yes.
what you will about Chip Kelly. What I love about Chip is he calls an aggressive run game.
Yes.
And the angles that we're running the football are very conducive to collisions.
Yes.
So you're seeing a downhill physical game, whereas when you're running sideline to sideline, hoping something opens up, you're not really inflicting. You're not really inflicting your will on a team. And I just think Ohio State. Look at Indiana. At the end of that game in the championship, what could they continue to do? They could turn around, hand that football off, and they'd bang it up there for 4.5, 6.5 yards, because it turns out by the end of the tournament, they were the most physical football team, and no one gave them credit for that. They talked about Mendoza, and they talked about, some of their receivers and, some of the skill players. They didn't talk about that. Their offensive line, Indiana, could put their hands on people and move the ball the entire season.
Yeah.
I mean, they won games by blowouts, and they won close ones against us because they were physical.
Yeah. And the team they were playing at the end, they got that done in the fourth quarter of the 3 previous games Miami did. They did, with Fletcher and everything. They just lined up and ran the ball down your throat and stopped this, and
because they couldn't block Bain and they couldn't block the other edge guy. So they said, all right, we're going to just run at you and wear you down. And that was smart.
Exactly. You and your short arms. Isn't it funny, man? You get to the combine and they start picking on everything,
Which, by the way, guys, that's the one thing you hate about the combine.
Oh, yeah.
Is watching a guy who you watched film of, and he was great on film. He was one of the best players on the field every game. And then you go to the combine and you over-critique, over-analyze, over-measure, and then you start talking yourself into this. Well, maybe he isn't what we thought he was. Trust what you saw on the tape, man.
Bingo.
Plays hard.
How did he play against big time opposition? You know what I mean?
Correct.
Opponents. Did he hold his own? Did he lure it over, et cetera? You're exactly right. I mean, the best thing, when I was back in the day, back in the 60s, the draft came a lot sooner. I remember back when the AFL and NFL were feuding, were going at each other before they consolidated, merged. Joe Namath got drafted before he even played in the Orange Bowl against Texas. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And he signed his contract there in the end zone at the Orange Bowl after Texas beat him. But but nowadays, why don't you talk about this, Jess? What I wanted to lead to? Clay, you want to answer something else? Because I want to talk about what happens from now till April. Go ahead.
Well, I did have 3 or 4 quickies here because I wanted to see how he handled it.
Yeah.
How serious was your combine prep? Did you have some guru? Did you fly to Scottsdale and work out? Or were you at home in the Woody?
That's a great question. So a lot of guys feel like training with other top guys will improve their, iron sharpens iron kind of deal.
Yeah.
So a guy named Tom Shaw, Worldwide Sports down in Orlando, has a program down there that does combine prep. And so I flew down there. My agent said, I'm going to send you down there to Disney World. And that's where they train. And I was like, Disney World? I get down there and, it's like a lot of top guys down there. You know who the first person I saw run a 40 down there? We trained 40s.
Goofy. No.
Alvin Johnson.
Oh, I was messing with you. Megatron.
So Clay, I'm watching Cal run his 40 and how he preps. And he was the first guy at his size I ever saw run a 4.3 right in my face. And I was like, oh my God. And people knew he was good out of Georgia Tech, but no one really knew, and then I was calling my buddies from Ohio State going, guys, there's this dude down from Georgia Tech. Let me tell you something. He's going to be the first pick. I've never seen anything like this. And
Andre Johnson was kind of that kind of guy too, wasn't he? I mean, their wide receiver from Miami.
Athletic,
Yes, unbelievable.
Cal was a freak though. But to answer your question, Clay, yes, I think I think prep is huge because listen, back then it could make or break your whole draft stock. So you had to prepare because the film is the film, but they need to know, does your game translate to the NFL, and only measurables to them equal that.
Were you better on the field or on the bench or in any drill as compared to the interviews?
Yeah, so the interviews are interesting because I think, and this is something that people are saying now and starting to pick up on, in 2026, how you interview is as important as any year ever in the combine because of the investments these teams are making now. So now you got $100 million, $150 million, $200 million guys. I am not putting that kind of money into a prospect unless I know his mental health is in the right space, and unless I know he's very, very passionate about football and this is his first thing. It can't be your fourth thing. It can't be that you want to get into movies or that you're a big social media guy or you're big on TikTok. Or, that's why Mendoza will go number one. He crushed the interviews. All he cares about is football. A franchise is going to go, we can give him $100 million because he's never going to leave the film room. He's never going to leave the facility. He's going to live at the facility in Vegas. Watch, I'll be down there in Vegas in the offseason, and I guarantee he'll be in the facility when I go in there because he is that kind of guy. But now you don't know what a guy's built around in here. So I think interviews are going to be as important as they've ever been.
Next thing, if when I covered this thing for many, many, many years, you get ready to talk to somebody and they pointed him kind of at the doctor or the hospital. How much time did they pull you out of there to check whatever, hang nail to sprained ankle?
So that happens more for guys who have injury histories and for guys who have had significant injuries on film, meaning like during a live game, they saw you tear an ACL, they saw you, go down with a shoulder injury. So they recorded that. And when it's time to, make sure you're fit for the draft, those teams will pull select guys and say, hey, can we get a knee test on this particular guy? Can we get this test on this guy? And they'll order an MRI on the spot and make sure that they're not getting quote unquote damaged goods. You guys know the business. I mean, that is just how it is. They're not going to make that investment unless your mind and body are at 100%.
Why did you alluded to the difference in what you did on the bench from 20 to 28? That's a huge, it's a pretty big jump there.
Sure it is. You know why? Why people don't, what I never was able to talk to the people at the combine that year about, I hadn't had my tonsils taken out yet. I had them taken out later on in life. So
you told me this story.
I would get seasonal strep throat like once a year, it felt like. And it's, you get a fever, it's a bad sickness for like 3 days. And I was under such stress heading into the combine that I started to feel sick like 2 nights before. And in the morning of, I get that achiness and I'm like, oh crap, I got a fever. Like I'm actually sick. And so I'm trying to hydrate. My strength levels are just down. I was literally sick for 3 straight days. And I started to feel better. A month later, I'm feeling much better. Like I'm calling, my agent's calling teams like, make sure you guys come to Ohio State. He's going to do his pro day. Trust me, he's not sick now. You're going to see the real him. And I ran, I think like a 4.78, and I benched like 28 times. And then right away, it was like, oh, okay, never mind. He's very draftable.
How bogus is that? You couldn't just pull somebody aside and go, you know what, dude, my tonsils are inflamed. Right on down the line, you know what I mean? And just let them know, one day, I know they don't care, but
they don't care, Tim.
They should. But they should, right?
Or you're gonna sit your butt down, and we're gonna bring on a guy that will come compete.
Yeah,
that's how they look at it. So
I would look at you as doing that as you were gonna compete. Yeah. And by the way, did you see what he did? Even though his tonsils were as big as apples, you know what I mean? That would enhance your status with me. Especially after I juxtaposed it to your workout at Ohio State, where the numbers were what they were. 28 to 20 just in a bench press. That's stupid. That's a 40% gain or whatever. Doing 100%. The quick math and getting it wrong. Hey Jay, so that's what I wanted to ask you real quick. Now these guys will, by the end of the weekend, will have finished their Olympic sports moments, right?
The underwear Olympics.
Yeah, running 4-bag drills and whatever, and cones and stuff, and now facing. That's why I always go back, and the tape don't lie, the video don't lie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Of things I could show you that Kayden McDonald did this year, just almost fun in a fun way, throwing guys out of the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or in a fun way, putting guys in the way. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But my point is, so what happens? Is this an agonizing time for these guys now, from the guys who aren't the 4 or 5, like Carnell Tate or Sonny or Caleb or will it be agonizing between now and draft day? How would you describe what you went through over the next month and a half or so?
severe anxiety for about a month and a half.
Yeah.
And
Phone ring,
and that's
right?
the top guys too. That's not just us mid-tier guys. That is the top 10 guys, because the difference of
Oh, yeah.
2 and 11 could be $8 million. I
That's
mean,
crazy.
Yeah.
your life looks different with $8 million there
Yeah.
or not there. I think we all
Yeah.
agree, right?
Forget
And
NIL
so-
money. Hell yeah.
right? And so you're talking generational wealth versus like, okay, I got some money in my pocket, but I got to keep working. And that's fine.
Yeah.
We all plan on working anyway, but there's so much on the line, and it's all at some GM, some scout, some team's whim, right? Like some owner just
Yes.
likes this guy better. You know, the owner of the Carolina Panthers just liked Bryce Young and his family, and he just wanted to go with that kid over obviously physically better CJ Stroud, who when you watched him throw the football, it jumped off his hands, and everyone's thinking he's clearly the best quarterback in the draft. And the owner, you know, out there in Carolina just goes, I like Bryce. Yeah, he's small, but I like his family. He's an Alabama kid. I'm a big Bama fan. And then boom, his life's changed. And CJ ends up being rookie of the year, and you know, he's amazing. But the point is, that kind of whimsicalness is what's going to dictate your next like 3-4 years of your life and how much money you can invest in yourself and family.
That's what I've told players this for like 40 years now. If you want some Tim May wisdom, it is, my big line is, you don't have to convince every team that you're a first round draft pick. You got to convince one, you know, and like you said, whatever it takes to butter up that turkey, you butter up that turkey. Right. I mean, but you know, you're already being considered because you have the wherewithal, the capability of playing in the NFL and playing well. But now, how high or low you go in the chart is who's that team you convince that they can't live without you, right?
Someone's got to fall in love with you. I mean,
yeah.
Think about JJ McCarthy.
Yes.
A couple years back, was anyone saying, and this is, you know, heading into the draft, even after they won a title, but you think back to that Penn State game, Michigan, the second half, they didn't throw the ball once. Yep. They ran the ball the whole second half. And you think about some of his numbers, they'd be like 9 for 13, 11 for 16 for 180 yards, and they were winning games, and nobody cared because they were winning games.
Right.
So his film didn't get properly evaluated because of the style of offense they ran and their great defense. I mean, they dominated games. And so all of a sudden, he goes and works out for a couple teams, has a good day throwing the ball, lifts weights pretty good, looks decently athletic. And all of a sudden he goes from a guy that people were saying second round, and he jumps into the top 10,
whatever it was. Yeah.
And we're going, huh? And then Minnesota goes and one guy in Minnesota falls in love with him, a GM falls in love with JJ, grabs him. Turns out things didn't work out. They let Sam Darnold go, betting the farm on JJ. That bet does not go well. They don't even make the playoffs the next year, and that GM just got fired about a month and a half ago. So
you know what?
Right. That's right.
Whole careers are made or broken on this combine.
Yeah. I mean, like that movie Draft Day, a lot of people don't like with Kevin Costner. I go, a lot of that is accurate as hell.
Exactly.
I mean, and the other thing is the flip side of that is Shedeur Sanders last year. There were all these draft nick guys who were, the gurus, the guys who are feeding you all this pablum over the many months, all had him as almost can't miss in the NFL. You know what I'm talking about. And
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he slides all the way to the fifth row. Well, like you said, he didn't make anybody fall in love with him. And the Browns and Haslam, but heck, he may be their starting quarterback this year. So
I don't even think Haslam wanted him. I think it was the GM that said,
exactly.
You know what?
Barry,
we're gonna grab this kid because I'm sick of seeing what I'm seeing. You guys are all acting like you didn't watch all of that film from Colorado where he's got no offensive line. He's got just him and Travis Hunter, and he's making these crazy throws off one leg, falling down with the game on the line, and it's a touchdown. And you're telling me that kid can't find a way to compete in the NFL? Are you crazy?
Yeah. Got a follow up to that. If you are the Browns hierarchy, if you're heading up the front office, are you taking a tackle, or are you taking Carnell Tate or another receiver?
Oh, that's a difficult one. So here's what I'll say about that. Receivers, high-end receivers, can change the trajectory of your franchise overnight if you already have key pieces.
Mm.
So if you already have decent protection and a solid run game, and they will with Judkins, and you can figure out the protection, then you got to take Tate because he's NFL ready. Like, take him out of the package, put him onto the field, no batteries included. It doesn't matter. He's already got the batteries. He just goes and plays. He'll be a lot like our guy in Tampa from last season.
Yeah.
Who just
Emeka.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, Emeka Egbuka. Yeah.
Emeka Egbuka, right? You just knew Emeka was ready to play football.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so it didn't matter. He day one, he made an impact. That'll be Carnell. However, in addition to that, you can find good protection on the free agency market. I would rather get a free agent experienced tackle who's gone against some of these good edge rushers in the AFC, and he knows, everyone's tricks, and he's been in the league about 4 or 5 years. And I don't want a brand new left tackle, with Shedeur, and day one, this kid has never played in the NFL. That makes me nervous. Take Carnell, grab a tackle in free agency, protect
out of the portal.
Out of the portal, protect Shedeur, and give him somebody that can win one-on-one in any situation and go get open for a ball. Because he's going to be throwing 50-50 balls. He likes to chuck it up there. And you need a guy that can come down with it. That's Carnell.
Besides Fernando Mendoza, who's probably going to go to your alma mater, the Raiders.
Yeah.
And not a Buckeye, who is a guy that over this last year, but somebody right now, maybe not even projected first round and stuff, but who's a guy out there nationally that, boy, caught your eye, meaning this guy's going to play in the NFL sometime, some way, and for a long time maybe? Is there a guy out there that, you know what I mean? You live there in Austin. There's a cavalcade of players coming and going through there and stuff, but is anybody caught your eye, Jay, that you think could be a surprise to some people?
You know what? I'll say this. He's not. I mean, he's a little bit more obvious, I guess. But I thought
it's okay.
They struggled in some games this year. I'm talking about Alabama. I'm talking about Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
Struggled in some games, but you'd see for about a quarter and a half in every game that he was healthy and played in. For about a quarter and a half, I was like, hey, he looks like an NFL quarterback. I mean, he'd be sharp, ball on a rope, on time. The timing routes where the ball's released with anticipation, and the receiver's not out of his break yet, and you'll see the ball whiz by a defender's ear, and everything's timed up perfect. And I'm going, okay, that was an NFL throw, and that was an NFL kind of route and pattern. So you can see it's there, but you didn't see it consistently. And then the kid out of Ole Miss, I think he got granted his
Trinidad Chambliss,
Chambliss got drafted or got granted his 6th year, something like that.
Yeah.
He's a kid that came on late. He had to bounce around early on in his career, but has got a lot of experience in a few different offenses. More athletic than you think he is.
Oh yeah,
and can bomb it when he needed to bomb it. He could throw bombs. So I was impressed with him.
And he's just a 6-footer.
Not huge.
No,
not a huge kid. Like Bryce, or Kyler. I really think he's bigger than Kyler. Kyler's
right.
Tiny.
Yeah,
he is.
But he's a little bit slightly thicker than Bryce. But he just has a great anticipation, and he's got like that X factor. Like, he's gonna make a play. However he'll do it, he'll make a play. And
you remind me. He reminds me of Jaden Daniels a lot. Jaden Daniels.
I can say that. Yep.
I mean, at LSU, I just go, wow. I mean, this guy. And then we got the pros. I thought he was going to be a little fragile, as they say in A Christmas Story. I think he has been a little fragile, right? But man, when he's on,
so that was the only knock on Jaden was he doesn't have an NFL frame.
Right.
Man, is he talented. Is he smart. Man, he can throw a football. But if he takes the wrong hit, he could be in trouble.
Jay, thanks to you guys, maybe they'll finally get around to putting up an actual stone fortress around quarterbacks that will move down the field as they do.
Oh, God.
So that you can't hit them anymore. What do you think about that, Jay?
Dude, when you watch the modern NFL now, and I know I'm the old guy that played, in 2007, where you could just throw your whole body on a quarterback and land on them, and there was Bounty Gate, and
log rolling.
Yeah. You could just beat a guy's head in, and now to watch a guy work his butt off, against the offensive lineman, beat him, come clean, and have a great hit on the quarterback. But because he fell down on him, you see a flag, and then the guy gets fined, by the way, later on. It's not just a flag. Then you get $15,000 taken out of your account, out of your paycheck. you're kind of going, dude, what are we doing? And so you see quarterbacks now take advantage of that.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see Josh Allen hang on to that ball way longer than he normally would because he knows no one's allowed to hit him. And so he'll try to squeeze that extra split second to make that play. Quarterbacks in the 90s and 2000s wouldn't try that kind of stuff because they knew they'd get killed. And so the game is just different.
We went down and saw the New York Jets.
Yep.
Joe Namath was like his second or third year in the league, playing the Houston Oilers in, I call it Old Rice Stadium. Rice Stadium's still there, but it used to seat that's where the Dolphins won their 17th game in the Super Bowl. Okay. You know, that was where the Super Bowl was that year. And but we saw Ernie Ladd. I don't know if that name even rings a bell with anybody, but he was a defensive
City Chiefs.
Yeah, but but he was playing for the Oilers then.
Oh, okay.
And he literally knocked Joe Namath down and did what I call a log roll, where because Ernie Ladd was also a pro wrestler.
Oh,
and yeah, because you had to have dual careers in to make a living. You know what I mean? And he log rolled Ernie Ladd or Joe Namath, all of our heroes, because he was from Alabama. We had just moved to Texas a couple of years earlier. And we literally had to hold my dad back from wanting to go down on the field and get into Ernie Ladd's face. You know what I mean? Because Joe Namath was his guy. My point is, those days are so long gone, it's crazy.
Oh,
but here's the thing, dude, really, you got to admit, people show up, they want to see Patrick Mahomes, right? It's like that old Seinfeld line, 100%. No bet Midler. They want to see those star quarterbacks, right, Jay? I mean, and you as an alum of the other side, the dark side of the what do they call it in Star Wars? The
dark side of the Force.
Yeah, the dark side of the Force. You're considered that, aren't you? A little bit on defense. I mean, it's kind of
have to consider that. Listen, I get the because it's all numbers, guys. It's all hard numbers, right?
Yep.
You need viewership. Stars bring viewership. Also, stars now you have to invest $250 million in, right? So Pat Mahomes got it. Pat Mahomes, the NFL is paying him close to $500 million contract. You have to have insurance for that. What is the insurance? That's the rules. That's the protections they put in place to make sure that these investments always get ROI.
Yes.
And that is just how it goes now. And so if I'm giving Josh Allen $250 million and I'm putting a whole marketing campaign around selling that dude being out there every Sunday, that's who you get to see, then I got to make sure that dude stays upright. And in order to do that, I got to change the rules to protect the quarterbacks.
The three biggest commodities still in the National Football League is the quarterback, who puts people in stands.
No doubt.
Left tackle to protect that quarterback. And maybe even today with these defenses, the way defenses play almost multiple, they almost flip sides, your right tackle too, right? And then
Tim, I'll take it a step further. The biggest commodity, maybe in sports, period, is the NFL quarterback. A top tier NFL quarterback in a season can make $58-60 million in a year.
Yeah.
Name any other, even LeBron's only making, I think, 51 this year.
Right.
So your top paid quarterback is actually making more in one calendar year than almost anybody in any other sport.
Which is the way it should have been a long time ago. But, that's another story for another day. But then the defensive end who can, the edge guy that can get to the quarterback.
Yep.
You may be from the dark side of the Force, but they want you big time, and then the quarterback who can take away the primary guy so that quarterback has to think 1 second before throwing the ball. That's still where the money is, for the most part. So
let's look at the franchise tag.
Yeah.
Think about it like franchise tags. Who's the highest tag position? Quarterback. Right after that, edge, rush in.
Edge, rush in. That's exactly right.
That's the value.
I told the bosses, I told Nick one time, I said, Nick, you and your brother got it made. He goes, what? I go, what? I said, if a left tackle has one or two gaffes, he's had a horrible game. I almost said a bad word there, but it starts with horrible game. You make 2 sacks, you've had a tremendous game. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the beauty of being an edge guy, man. But here's what they don't tell you. So many things have to go right to get that 1 or 2 sacks.
Bingo.
Let me tell you, a whole lot has to go right.
I told you when the 49ers played 49ers played the Chiefs a couple of years ago in the Super Bowl, I was out in Vegas with my buddy Jeff Snook, and I only put a couple of bets down. One of them was Chase Young would have more than half a sack, and over under on half a sack, and Nick Bosa would have over under half a sack. Chase Young got a sack on like the 5th play of the game, He was like, and I'm going, whatever. Nick came close to like 10 sacks and got 0. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Just what you're talking about. Yeah. Anyway,
like a whole lot has to go right.
Yeah.
You were drafted by the Raiders, played there 3 years. Was it 07 to 09? Yeah. And you've maintained, or how cool is that you and that they like that relationship? You're out there periodically. You still have a relationship with that team.
Oh, a fantastic one. They have this saying, once a Raider, always a Raider. And they mean it. And I think they have the best alumni program. They have the best culture when it comes to relationship with the past players. And it kind of goes for years. Like I remember when I first got drafted, one of the first guys I met in the building was Jack Tatum. Was a former Buckeye, also played for the Raiders, and he they brought him in to talk to us, spend some time with us. Jerry Rice was only a Raider, I think, for a couple years, and they brought him in to spend some time with us. He was awesome. But they have a culture. Lincoln Kennedy spends a lot of time with us. They have a culture of just making sure that no one forgets that this is like a generational brotherhood, and they're not one of the teams that just says it. Clay, they're a lot like Ohio State.
Yeah.
It's a unique NFL culture. And the Raiders, you're always partial to the team that drafted you because they're the team that gave you the first shot.
Sure.
They're the first ones that believed in you. They believed in you so much that they paid money to get you.
Yes.
And, and right away, and I think that's important. And you always remember that. And the way we parted ways, it was tough because I had an injury. They wanted to re-sign me right away. And so the moment I was healthy enough to come back, they were sent me an offer, and it just so happened that Pete Carroll in Seattle that same like that afternoon called me, and it was kind of like, hey, you want to go try out Seattle? We'd always played them in the preseason, and I always kicked the hell out of them, and so Pete liked me, and I was like, man, I might need to change the scenery. I know the culture that we have here. This is no knock on my Raiders. I love y'all to death, but you guys know right around like 2008. Man, those are some rough years. We had coaches getting in fistfights.
Yeah.
One coach broke another coach's jaw. You had Jamarcus 1 overall, and he's at the strip club every night. And there was so much going on. I was like, I need to just see what else is out there. And I got to Seattle. It was amazing football culture. They were sharp. They come pick you up in a nice car. They help you get housing. You get to the building. It's like you feel like you're part of the family. And right away, even after the first practice, I was like, oh, this is what the NFL really is. Like, this is what it was always supposed to be. And then it felt like I was really in the NFL.
That's what Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I want to run by you, Jay, because it's true. Every NFL franchise is not created equally. I mean, from the way they treat their players to the facilities. I mean, most of them have upgraded fairly well now, but notoriously, I think a few in the past have charged you for your meals in the, and some don't. I mean, it just because you're going to the NFL doesn't mean everything's the same here as it is over there, right? Because you touched bases with 4 franchises during your career.
You can talk about a lot of differences, man. Like again. So back in those days, Seattle and Oakland were night and day. I mean, Seattle first class, everything, the building, the tech on the team plane, it was owned by Microsoft billionaire. So a lot of it has to do with what ownership your team has.
Correct.
If you get a guy that's invested like a Robert Kraft, or at the time, the family in Seattle, Paul Allen, and them, they really loved football. They were invested. Al Davis was invested. He loved football, but almost too much, kind of like Jerry Jones, where too much control, too hands-on, and then they didn't invest in facilities back then. Now the facilities for the Raiders are immaculate. I'd put them in, that Vegas facility, top 2, 3 in the country. That's including Los Angeles. That's including Ohio State. That's including everybody. I mean, that facility is unbelievable. But every team is not like that. Ask the Bengals players. Their ownership is one of the cheapest. They, when they've had Joe Flacco, I think he had to pay for one of his flights out there when he was working out or something like that. I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they said they'd reimburse him. I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah. What's going on? And that, that little bubble they got next to the stadium down there too, just kind of makes you go, but yeah, I mean, I got to tour the Star one time about 2017 when it was the same week Ohio State played Sam Darnold and USC in the Cotton Bowl, and I just go, man, the play. I mean, Jerry would land his helicopter so he didn't have to fight traffic. His helicopter would land between the two outdoor practice fields right outside the building. They had this club. They have a club you can join. It's like a country club, but there's no golf involved. You can just go up there and hobnob, and players come up there occasionally, and you can take clients there. And they got that indoor practice field, which actually serves as a stadium for some of the high schools in Frisco, during the football season. And
right.
I mean, it's just, and then you look at the Bengals, man. I remember when I covered them and they practiced at Spinney Field, which was over on a southwest part of town. And it was like, the building looked like it had been abandoned and repurposed. I remember Forrest Gregg's office. I'm going, this is the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, who went to the Super Bowl, by the way, in 81 or whatever that season was. And this is his office. I'm going, you got to be kidding me.
Tim, in direct contrast to that, and Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, but when Ohio State played Cal, we went to the Raiders, who were still in Oakland, I believe.
Yeah.
And TP was there.
Yep.
And we went to that facility. And as I recall, a dead-gum airport runway ran almost right up to the practice field. Is that right? Am I remembering?
Tampa was like that too. Long time ago. Go ahead.
Back in those days, the Oakland Raiders and our facilities we had in Alameda, California, very, very close to right by an airfield. It wasn't sexy. When I got there, I went to the locker room, saw my locker. There's like chain link fence on the lockers. I'm like, what is going on? I mean, it looked like a middle school building, and you're kind of like, this is the NFL. I mean, that's my first thought, of the NFL when I walked in was going there. Yeah. And I love the people there. I mean, great staff, great. And the Davis family was wonderful. Their thing was like, hey, we're not investing in facilities. We'll pay you guys, but
right.
I mean, they had an AstroTurf field out back still. It was wild.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. By the way, that 2013 trip, when Ohio State played Cal out there, and they, Kenny Guyton Jr. went off, and so did, anyway, I'll never forget, we're downtown. Ohio State stayed in the middle of downtown Oakland.
Jack London Square, baby.
At a Marriott. Yeah, right there in the middle of it. I guess a lot of NFL teams stayed there when they would play. And we're standing there waiting on the team plane had just landed. We're being alerted. And all of a sudden we hear this pop, 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 pop. And I go, well, those weren't fireworks. Those were pistols.
4th of July.
Dude, 30 seconds later, I'm sitting there next to Bo Bishop from, he was from Channel 10 then. And this little guy comes running by us, and he's pulling up his pants, his lowrider pants. And you can see
he's got the gun
gun in his hip running.
Oh, man.
He ran right between us on his way out the door. And I just go, man, you talk about cliches, but welcome to Oakland. But
I had to be within 10 feet of them because Obi and I were there waiting.
Yeah, you were there.
And the pop, pop, pop goes, and Obi lines up behind me, and he later told me Clay Hall thought that was fireworks. Yeah. I knew what that was.
Yeah.
And here comes that guy running 80 miles an hour with his hand. Oh, my Lord.
And nobody chasing him, by the way. And by the way,
Jay, the Oakland police confiscated our tape. They wanted some video.
Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was a crazy day.
And by the way, Opie knew about it because Opie got shot in the butt. Remember?
That's what I mean.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
that by the way was in the great city of Columbus when that happened. But that's another story.
Yeah, listen, Oakland. That was just a regular Tuesday. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. It's Popeye's chicken night or something. Who knows? I don't think Popeyes existed then, but like you said, it was just a regular occurrence. But hey, Jay, man, thanks for joining us again, man. I know we kept you too long, but You know,
All
it's
good.
too hot in Austin today anyway to go do anything.
It's
Hey, it's
perfect.
good to hang out with you guys. I appreciate you having me on. Do it again soon, man.
Heck yeah, we'll comment. We'll get you on to comment about the draft afterwards or before or whatever. If you've got any big projections you want to throw at us. But we really appreciate it, my man.
Appreciate
Anytime,
you,
guys. You
Jay.
let me know. Okay, yeah, we'll definitely do a draft wrap up and see how things shake out.
You
There
got
you
it.
go. There you
Ladies
go.
and gentlemen, until then, but especially until the next time, speaking for Clay Hall, I'm Tim May. We will see you then. Shh. By the way, Clay has left the room. I wanted to let you folks in on a real bargain out there in the world of simulator golf. The Back Nine Golf, which is located at 2820 Fishinger Road in Upper Arlington, has a hell of a holiday box available to you right now. The value is nearly $300, but your price is $150 if you jump online. That's almost 50% off if you jump online at Columbus at theback9golf.com. That's their email address. Their website is theback9golf.com/Columbus upper Arlington OH/. That's a long address, but just write it down a couple times watching it. And you can also call them at 614-362-7888. Parentheses PUTT, PUTT. But the bottom line is one of the new ultra modern simulators that you can find in the greater Columbus area. And it's really right there in the middle of Upper Arlington. I know Tito Thidoff and I hopped in there the other day. I think it was 16 degrees outside. There was snow and ice everywhere. And we played Pebble Beach. And we did it in less than an hour. So it's one of the great bargains going out there. And with this holiday box, you get 1 month of Birdie membership. You get Back Nine branded golf balls. You get cozy Back Nine beanie, and you get premium Back Nine towel. So that's a hell of a deal because basically it's unlimited golf. It's 24/7. You get a code to get you in the door, and then you can go from there. And it's definitely fun. It's the premises are pristine. I know we had a great time. We even played closest to the hole, a few shots on number 7, famed number 7 short par 3 at Pebble Beach the other day, and had a great time doing it. So if you're looking for that last minute gift for a golfer that you love, or yourself that you love, that you're a golfer, nothing wrong with giving yourself a gift at this time of the year. That's the Back Nine Golf holiday box, and it's only a limited time. And as you can imagine, there are only a few available. Quantities are tight. So check in at theback9golf.com.